and her husband Troy, and they're visiting us. She comes from Katy, and they had the pleasure of coming last night, and they've enjoyed themselves. They're going to stay one more night in Galveston, so welcome. Lisa is a Texas UU Justice Ministry board member, and she's going to talk to us about the organization. And she's also a spiritual life coach and a multi-generational living consultant. She's an ordained minister who's been married 40 years, has 2 kids, 3 grandchildren, and 4 dogs. She loves crafting, gardening, cooking, and more. Please welcome Lisa.
Thank you. So happy to be with you all today. You all have greeted me and my husband so warmly. Any chance we get to come to Galveston is a wonderful experience for us. So, I am Lisa Rockett, and I've lived in Katy for the past 18 years. I am a native Houstonian, 6th generation Texan on my mother's side. So many memories from Galveston. I remember the first time I came to Galveston. I was just a wee little thing, maybe 3 years old. And my parents, the drive was forever, coming from Houston, all the way from Houston. Of course, at 3, it seems forever. And as soon as we got here and my parents opened the door, all I remember was running towards water. And my mother freaked out. She could not swim, and all she saw was this child just running, towards the water. Thankfully, my father caught me in time. But that was one of my greatest memories of Galveston. And my second greatest memory of Galveston was it was the first place, I don't want to get too emotional, but it was the first place that my family and I came to as we were coming out of the pandemic. And we came on Juneteenth. And for all my years, I had never made that connection. But this time, I made that connection. And as I saw my family, because it was all of us, it was both my kids and my grandkids. We didn't have the 4 dogs at the time. But everybody, and I saw them playing out there in the water, and it was just an overwhelming feeling, and just coming out of the pandemic, it was a lot. So again, Galveston is just so very special to me and my family, and I thank you all for being here with me and welcoming us so warmly. Now, let me also start off by saying, if you came here to hear the sermon, Embracing the Season, What Autumn Teaches Us About Life, Death, and Faith, this is it in a nutshell. It's all about impermanence. Everything changes. Letting go while embracing change and new possibilities and faith is a good path forward. In Buddhist teaching, attachment is the cause of suffering. And y'all, I was attached to this sermon. I wanted to do this sermon. I just wanted to talk about the changing colors of leaves. I wanted to wax on and on and on. And then I remembered that whole process was about me. That was about me having my agenda, wanting to do something that I wanted to do. But it was not the assignment. As the kids say, you don't understand the assignment. And so I reassessed. And I'm glad, because you all are way past that. So I'm here today to talk about Tex Ugem: justice, service, and joy. As Mary mentioned, I serve on the board of Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry. And that's a mouthful, right? So we just call it Tex Ugem. How many of you are familiar with that, Tex Ugem? Okay, great. Now, TextUGM is what's called a state action network. And these networks collaborate to raise awareness and mobilize support around decisions that impact various issues like healthcare and education, environment, civil rights, things like that. And they move us to work on equitable and compassionate outcomes. Here in Texas. Easy, right? But of course, if it were easy, we would not be UUs here in Texas. Now, how many of you grew up UU? Okay, a few. That tracks pretty good. Because I just read that about 11% of UUs grew up UU. And as they say about Texas, I guess the rest of us got here as soon as we could. For me, that was 2016. I wonder what happened that year. Had to be something activating for a lot of us. Now, I was UU adjacent for 20 years prior to that. Hadn't heard of it. I mean, I'm a Texas girl. I'm a Southern girl. You don't hear UU everywhere. You're Baptist. You hear a lot of other things. But you don't hear UU everywhere, or you didn't at that time. So I got activated in 2016. And the next year, I attended my first GA, New Orleans. That was a fun GA, too. And that's where I met TextUGM's founding member and executive director, Chuck Freeman. I don't know how many of you know the Reverend Chuck Freeman. He is a firebrand, a starter. And he asked me, after talking for a while, to represent our congregation on the advisory council. And then after I spent about 2 years on that, he asked me to join the board. So as I was reflecting on what I wanted to talk to you all about today, I thought about what inspired me most and persuaded me to say yes to Chuck. And also what he may have saw, because I'm sure he didn't just go up to people, hey, you want to serve on the advisory, board, or hey, you want to be on the board of TextUGM. So we saw something in each other. And what I remember about him was, one, if you met Chuck, he's very passionate. He's passionate about social justice. He wants to right the wrongs in the world. He has a great sense of humor. And he keeps his joy. And that was infectious to me, because this work is hard. We care about things. We care passionately about things. So much so that you have a whole covenant about the things that you care about. Service, justice, love, truth. And I would observe these same qualities in other folks that I would meet. Working for justice and equity, again, this is Texas. On January 10th of this year, we went into our 88th legislative session. And that was, I don't know how many of you were involved, but it was particularly rough. We also continue to see the erosion of our democracy. Few people in power continued to decide who does and does not matter. And last week, behold, another special session. School vouchers, immigration. That's what they got together again to talk about. And let me say, though, TextUGM staff and volunteers helped to deliver over 300 letters to the Capitol in support of public schools. Also, in our partnership with Texas Impact, we've arranged a border witness and solidarity trip. Now, that's a limited availability, so if that's something you're interested in, you're going to have to get on that pretty quickly, and you can find more information on our website. So all that's going on in the world, and also in talking to you all you all are very active. This is a very active congregation. You have a lot of things going on, and I would actually like us to be able to amplify what you're doing. I think it's something like best church in the area. I mean, wow. I mean, who gets to be that in Texas? Okay. So it's been a lot to unpack and process. But it's especially during times like these that I'm comforted to be part of a faith community. And I'm also proud and energized to be part of TexUGM. So with everything going on, we still remain hopeful as we align our values with purposeful action. There's a gospel song that we sometimes sing. I don't know if you all have sang it here or not, but it's "This Joy That I Have." If you've been to GA, sometimes they'll sing it. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. And it calls to mind a reminder that joy is not transient. It is not based on external factors. In an article published in October 2019, The Emotion of Joy, Commentary on Johnson, Patty Van Kapellen suggests that joy connects us to our identity, our values, and priorities. It is the emotion that makes life worth living in the moment. Joy sustains us. It is empowering and allows us to face our struggles with courage, resilience, and unwavering faith. It helps us to see beyond our limitations and perceive the beauty that lies within every situation. And when joy is the lens through which we look at life, we can find gratitude even in the midst of hardship and see the lessons in the trials. And when we cultivate a spirit of gratitude, joy blossoms. As we lean into our joy, it becomes a transformative force that can illuminate a path not only for ourselves, but for others as well. And when we nurture our joy, we become instruments of change in a world that is yearning for healing and restoration. As Maya Angelou says, we need joy as we need air. And I agree with that. At TexUGM, we leverage our resources and strategize so Texas UUs can sustain this work. And that's the important part. It has to be sustainable. We don't want to just survive. We want to thrive. We want to sustain this work and each other for the long journey of justice. There are strategies we can also cultivate to keep our joy sustainable. One of the biggest threats, and I don't know if any of you all have had this happen to you personally or not, but one of the biggest threats to activist work is burnout. So self-care must be a priority. Rest, relax, recover. We hold space and offer spiritual support for activists. Often this is done in real time. It's one of the benefits of having a reverend as your executive director. Celebrate progress and victories along the way. Working with our coalitions during this past legislative session, we were able to thwart 95% of anti-LGBTQIA+ bills at the Texas Capitol. Finally, get a bill passed for 12 months of postpartum health care and keep the 10 Commandments out of our public school classrooms. You know, those are no small victories for us. Also, sustaining joy. Take time for reflection and renewal. Periodically, reconnect with the purpose and passion behind your work. those of you who were either, well, I guess you had to only be there in person. We weren't, well, no, I think it may have been another way too. But anyway, my first GA, Brian Stevenson, was there. And I remember he talked about getting proximate. So reconnecting with the purpose and passion of what we do, getting proximate is important because we remember why we are doing this work. Now, I may qualify as a marginalized person. There are some of you who may qualify as marginalized in whatever area. Some may not. But when we reconnect, we think about who is being most impacted. Where is the need greatest? And why do I care? Why do you care? So why are we doing what we're doing? What motivated us to get started in the first place? So in reconnecting and doing the renewal, our board met last week so that we could boldly dream, work, and plan our goals and vision. And we didn't just lean upon our own understanding. A consultant was brought in to introduce new thought and help us navigate the waters. So when you take this time for reflection, take it with a friend. Get back to square one or the source to see why you got involved. I found it very energizing when I did it. Another key component of sustainable joy is working in community. Your TexUGM offers many ways for you to get involved and meet others. One very successful weekly event is our Action Hour. Action Hour is a spiritual practice, an opportunity to get things done in real time. You ever want to do something but just don't know how to start? Well, obviously this congregation knows where to start. Really. But when I got involved, that's one of the things. I wanted to know where to go. Tell me where to go and what action and what to do, because I didn't always know, where I could be effective. So Action Hour does that. It gets people around, gathers UUs around Texas, but not just UUs. You can invite other people interested in justice work. Some of the things you might be doing is making calls to elected officials, writing letters to the editor, emailing letters of appreciation to our partners, and meeting everybody else while you're doing that, making connection. It's also an opportunity to be informed and updated on key issues locally, regionally, and statewide. Sometimes it's kind of, I know for our congregation, sometimes it's easy to get in a bubble where, what they say, all politics is local. But sometimes we don't always get out of there and see what else is going on. And this is an opportunity to share that information. Of course, there are many other opportunities that you can find on our website for volunteering. But now, I'd like to read a letter from our executive director, the Reverend Aaron Walter. The Texas UGM team, let me go back to what I said we'd call it, TexUGM. The TexUGM team is so thankful for your congregation's participation and support of the justice ministry over the past decade. And we hope you will be inspired to become one of the leading congregations in this work, both as donors and advocates. This is a crucial moment. The eyes of the nation and the world are on Texas. The work is life and death for many people. And we have seen this year what an impact UUs can have when we show up. How meaningful our presence is to frontline partners and those most impacted. You are the Texas UU Justice Ministry. This is not a big organization. Everything you do, every donation you make is significant and has a significant impact on our work and for our people. Imagine if everyone at this congregation became a monthly sustaining giver at $10 or $20 a month or more. No gift is too generous. The additional hours for Tex Ujim's congregational organizer would have an exponential effect. This means real things to real people. To those who are already giving, thank you. Thank you. We hope you will go deeper with us and invite others to join in. Again, that was from our executive director, the Reverend Aaron Walter. Protect trans kids. No person is illegal. Bans off our bodies. Black Lives Matter. Air over profit. Access is a human right. At Tex Ujim, these are more than just catchy slogans for a protest sign. These concerns align with our UU principles and whatever results from the Article 2 Study Commission process. Love will still be our guide. Love for each other and for our planet. Very soon you will be receiving a survey that I believe Mary, who by the way is a member of Tex Ujim's Advisory Council, if I didn't say that already, she'll help to gather on behalf of your congregation. This is an important survey because we want your input. We want you to tell us what issues are important to you, because this will inform us to where to focus our energies and resources for 2024 and 25. So, of course, we also hope you will join us in the work of advocacy and become a chalice lighter. That's our monthly sustaining donor, so both. The Indian poet, now remember, y'all, I'm from Texas, so we're going to try this. Get ready. The Indian poet, Rabindranath Tagore, wrote, "I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy." I am so thankful and grateful to be in joyful service among folks with shared values who manifest compassion and kindness on a daily basis. Thank you all so much.